Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
Purple Access, Zulgad, and of course my longtime colleague at the Star Tribune and good friend Chip Scoggins, joining you as we do once a week. And congratulations, Chipper, we've made it to July, which means training camp is right around the corner. How about that? Football time is almost here.
It does help when the basketball team has a deep playoff run to get us closer to the start of camp, right?
If one of those teams, if the Wild or Wolves have a deep playoff run, it makes it feel much more palatable, even when the baseball team is not good. So yes,
that's true. Yes.
Exactly right. But what we're I think they're going to report, or the quarterbacks report, like July 20th. So we are now that we're to Saturday. Once the 4th is done, it's just like going to be like just a cycle as quick as it gets.
It's over. Your summer's over.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's true. So let's do this. You have prepared, because I think there's an interesting discussion to be had here on positional depth. Okay, so you have prepared your confidence, and I don't know if the right word is non-confidence or concern. And I think you picked 3 positions each. And here's the caveat though. This includes depth. So it's not like, well, JJ McCarthy is the starting quarterback, and no, you could pick quarterback because clearly there might be concern behind him. Now, offensive line is tough, but you're going to go through where you're most confident in the Vikings, not only starters but depth, and where you're least confident. So let's start positive. Let's start with your most confident positions of strength, and also which means depth.
Correct. Number 1 on that, most confident, linebacker. When they brought in Jonathan Gennard last year, I can't sit here and say I knew a lot about him. I looked at his stats, probably saw him play some, thought he was going to be a good player. I didn't know he was this good. I didn't know he'd have this kind of impact in Brian Flores' scheme. A game changer. And then on the other side, Andrew Van Ginkel, splash plays left and right. If you throw a screen pass, you better be careful because he's going to sniff it out and tip it up and return it for a touchdown. I mean, your 2 outside backers were Pro Bowlers in year 1. It's hard to top that. And then I think Blake Cashman played at a Pro Bowl level, and we saw when he wasn't in there how different the defense functioned. And I think the games he missed, right, they lost both of them in the regular season. So, you start there, Ivan Pace, and I think now that we're going to see an expanded role for Dallas Turner. He's probably the most intriguing, other than J.J. McCarthy, the most intriguing, I say newcomer, but guy that you want to see. He's not a newcomer. We saw some of him last year.
Unleashed.
Unleashed. That's probably the right word. So when you combine the 2 frontliners, Dallas Turner, I think is going to make a big leap. Ivan Pace, Blake Cashman. I think that's, for me, the clear number 1.
Can I throw one in? Because I completely agree. Can I throw in another name, though, that I think it has the possibility to be a very intriguing guy? Yeah. And that is former Viking and now current Viking, again, in that position group, Eric Wilson.
Sure.
And here's why.
Yeah.
So no question, he's a special teams ace. It sounds like he's great there, which will be a big help because overall special teams has to improve, Chipper. But I looked this up. So Eric Wilson in 2020 with the Vikings played 96% of the defensive snaps. Last year with the Packers, 51%. And from what I could find on PFF, he is very solid against the pass.
Yeah.
Which intrigues me because we know that Ivan Pace very good against the run, not great against the pass. So I think that's one where they've added, and if Turner plays more, it definitely from a rush end and inside linebacker standpoint becomes a big position of strength because of that. The fact that the starters have guys behind them that can play.
Yeah, and Wilson's obviously older in his career now. I think he's late 20s. What is he, 28 probably? 27, 28, 29 in there. Right. And he's been around. He's going to come with more experience. And so I think you're right. I assume he's going to be a guy that's not just a special teams, that he's going to factor in on defense in a role that Brian Flores is going to carve out for him. So, I mean, they got depth there, and they got versatility. They got high-end talent. That group is really good. Number 2 on my list is pretty obvious, wide receiver. And I'm going to say wide receiver, tight end, Judd. Okay. I don't know if you mind if I lump those two together, but
no, it's fine.
To me, you got the best wide receiver in NFL. Because of that, Jordan Addison, I think he really flourishes playing alongside of Jefferson. And we even saw when Jefferson was in there. I mean, this guy can be a guy you can go to as a focal point too. Hawkinson, obviously now that he's healthy, gives him the tight end that you need, the pass catch. And Josh Oliver's sneaky as a receiver, obviously known for his blocking and might be the best blocking tight end or one of the best blocking tight ends at his position, but also kind of sneaky good as a receiver too. They use him in that capacity too. I'm excited about Jalen Naylor. Obviously, we've talked a lot about the size that he's put on. Let's see if he continues to make more and more progress. But that group, I don't know where you would rank them in the NFL, but anytime you have Jefferson and Addison, I think they're going to rank and Hawkinson, they're going to rank pretty high.
Oh, I think it'd be top 5, right? For sure.
I would think so. Yeah. I mean, I would, you'd be hard to argue against that.
I'm curious if and when Addison gets suspended by the league for, let's say, 1 to 3 games. I'm curious what Naylor can do stepping into, because I will say this to his credit. I mean, we talked about this in May and June. Yeah. He has redone his body. Like, he looks like a different player.
Yes.
Now we have all been guilty, never the two of us, of course, of getting overly excited about guys who have worked hard. And then it's like, oh my God, just wait. He's sitting on a massive season and it doesn't come to fruition. But that being said, I think when you look at the overall groups, if you combine them, the Vikings definitely have some depth there. And I'm with you. I think that Oliver, supposedly couldn't catch. When they signed him, he can't really catch. I don't know about you. I'm hard pressed to remember dropped balls by him.
No, I mean, they're maybe there is there, but it just, it's like he's opportunistic with his catches. Like, they come in critical times, it seems like. I mean, he just has, he'll have those games where he have 4 or 5 catches and they're important catches. So I think it's, undervalued part of his game. And what do you think? Maybe this is just me and my, having watched this guy in college against the Gophers and just in college against other people. What do you make of Rondale Moore?
I don't know where his knee is at. He's not going to start training camp. It sounds like so he got hurt in training camp, I think it was
last year
with Falcons, right? And it sounds like it was very severe. At Purdue, I loved him.
Yeah.
And the game he had with the Cardinals against the Vikings, caught that deep Kyler Murray ball and looked great. I think
he had flashes there, Judd. He had flashes there.
Yeah, he's sneaky. If healthy.
Well, he's fast. He's burst and quick.
Got some sneak to him.
If I just don't know what you can count on.
Right.
Because he didn't do anything in the offseason. He's still recovering. But I would love to see, if he's healthy, what O'Connell has up his sleeve for him. What does he have a role in mind? Is it just kind of wait and see if he can get healthy? I don't know. But the flashes that he's shown in the NFL with the Cardinals, I mean, it's, he's like, hey, you could use that, if it
and at Purdue,
healthy.
like
yeah,
you
well,
said,
Purdue, he was
college
dynamite at Purdue,
how's this for a wide degree of variance on Moore? I wouldn't be surprised if he does not make it on training camp, and I wouldn't be surprised if he contributes.
That's it.
I just don't know.
It's just health. I mean, it's just his,
exactly.
Like I said, he was still rehabbing. So, but that group obviously is really good. My third one, and we stopped at 3. I kind of waffled on this one, Judd. I went back and forth between safety and offensive line. I'm gonna go offensive line. Darisaw, Donovan Jackson, Ryan Kelly, Will Fries, Brian O'Neill. You have 3 first-round picks in there, 1 second-round pick. Bryce was a 7th rounder, but you got 3 first-round picks and a second-round pick on that line. That should be a good group. They spent a lot of money to upgrade it. Obviously, there's some injuries there with that's what kind of gave me pause. Darrisaw's injury. Will Fries didn't do anything in the offseason as he's working his way back. Depth. Okay, we can debate that.
Well, Blake Brandel helps at guard.
Blake Brandel helps at guard. I'm curious about Walter Rouse.
Yep.
And see kind of if he can take a step and be part of the, that rotation. But I think across the board, front line, if we're saying health, if we're just saying it's a healthy group, then I feel really confident in it.
I think that they consider at least Justin School at tackle, and he's been in Darrisaw's place. I think they consider him to be an upgrade on Quessenberry, which helps. The only place for depth where I'm really concerned is center. Like, can Michael Juergens step in and play? Because that's he's been the backup there. But I think, I think you probably improved your potential swing tackle going from Quessenberry to School. And Brandel, I mean, we can debate him as a starter, but he's a guy that you definitely like to have. If somebody gets hurt, he's not going to fall apart.
Yeah.
At guard.
And I just think, again, if Darrisaw comes back and he's Christian Darrisaw, if the first round pick is as good as where he warranted being drafted, I think they're in a good spot with this offensive line. Now it's again, so much of this is predicated on health, but do you agree putting them ahead of safety? I kind of went back and forth because I think safety, they're pretty deep and versatile there.
I agree. Yeah. I guess as a whole, I agree. Again, if we were to break it down by position, center concerns me quite a bit because Kelly's older and he's coming off being hurt. Now I know that Will Fries broke his leg as well, and that's been slow to progress, but he's not as old. But no, and this is what, Chipper, is this the best offensive line that this team has gone into training camp with since 2009?
Since 2009, I think so. I mean, obviously that line was really good. We talked about, how they invested in that group. And this is, Judd, 3 first rounders on that offense line, second round.
Well,
it should be good. It doesn't,
yes.
We know draft picks and there's different draft picks.
But you're paying guys too.
But you're paying guys.
Yep.
And so I think it is, and I think it's there's going to be more nastiness to it, more size, more ability to really kind of be nasty in the trenches and get tough yardage. So I think that, I think they elevated that. But, Darrisaw needs to be healthy.
Oh, absolutely. So let's assume health now. I'm thinking back. The 09 line, okay? The 09 line, McKinney was a Pro Bowl talent, but I don't know. He wasn't Darrisaw. Darrisaw's better.
Yeah.
But
McKinney was good.
He was very good. But the incredible thing that I was going to say, and we talked about it at the time, but it just became, through the years, it's become more and more clear. What Steve Hutchinson did for McKinney and John Sullivan, who was a first-year starter after Burke left.
Sure.
Because Ryan Kelly should be better than Sullivan was as a rookie. I'm sorry. I think he was a second-year player.
Second-year guy.
Starting.
He said that first year. Yeah.
Herrera was solid at right guard. Fry should probably be an upgrade on him. Loadholt O'Neal, I don't know. Take your pick. I mean,
I thought
Brian's good.
Yeah, and I mean, both those guys were really good. I mean, obviously Hutch was a Hall of Famer, so I mean, I to me, this is the best line since then on paper if everybody's healthy.
I don't disagree. Yeah, I mean, they've certainly had they've had some quality linemen since then. Yeah. They have not had a unit this good, the continuity since 09 for sure.
So I look at those 3 positions and I'm like, those are three darn good positions when you start looking at the depth of the frontline players.
Agree completely.
So least confident?
Yeah, let's go. We've been positive for almost 20 minutes.
This too much positive. Cornerback, to me, that's number 1. Obviously, Byron Murphy Jr., you got a Pro Bowl player, very good talent there in your nickel role. But after that, just a lot of question marks. Now, I think Isaiah Rodgers is going to be good. I mean, looks like he's going to be a starter. I listened to Brian Flores talk about him, said he's been high on him going back to his college days.
Yep.
I think they see someone that could be really good in this defense. So I guess there's not a lot of concern there with him. But after that, okay, Jeff Okudah, former number 3 overall pick. This is going to be his fourth team in 4 years. Is that right?
Injury problems.
Wait, Detroit,
coverage,
Atlanta, Houston here, 4 team in 4 years. Yeah.
Coverage, not great in coverage in the pros, and he's been hurt. But yet he was, I think, in the OTAs and minicamp, he was the first guy in the
Correct.
nickel. So clearly he's going to get a shot here. I agree though. That one, Isaiah Rodgers, I'm willing to buy stock in. When Flores says that, it's very clear that Flores pushed for Rodgers to be signed quickly, which he was in free agency. On Okudah, I am much more. I guess I've got an eyebrow raised.
Well, it's just because it hasn't, for a 3rd overall pick, it just hasn't panned out. I mean, he's on his 4th team. And this was 2020 draft. He was the 3rd overall pick by Detroit. And so he's already on his 4th team. So he hasn't established himself anywhere yet. And so maybe it happens here. Maybe something clicks. Maybe Flores finds, whatever. Maybe just mature in his career. I don't know. But you could tell by OTAs he's clearly getting an opportunity to have a big role.
Yep, and Blackman.
But again, after that, Mekhi Blackman, I really thought highly of him before his injury. I just don't know where he's going to get back to this year. I mean, it seems like they were, as they typically do when guys come back, not rushing it. I mean, they kind of eased him back into OTAs, I thought. We'll see where he gets. But after that, I mean, what's your depth? I don't know that that's a finished product yet. I still won't be surprised if they add someone else to that group.
No, and back to your question, what's your depth there? I mean, Dwight McGlothern, who made the team as a UDFA last summer. I think the key here is, or among the key here is, I think it's where Mekhi Blackman shows to be, because if Mekhi Blackman performs well in training camp and is completely back, I think your nickel package on opening day is Blackman, Murphy Jr., Isaiah Rodgers.
Yeah. And you feel better if he's back to where the level he thought, you feel better about it, but it's just, it's kind of an unknown right now.
I think they're more confident in that room than we are, but I also think you're right. I think that there's a very good possibility that they have a Stephon Gilmore-like signing again in training camp. Well,
I mean, the thing is they're clearly high on Rodgers. So they're high on him. Murphy Jr.'s a Pro Bowler. If Okudah is, if they can figure him out and he's okay, and then if Blackman is healthy and then you feel better. But to me, it's just there's a lot of ifs, question marks going into it right now. That's
and if a guy gets hurt.
Yeah, well, that's and
do you trust Okudah? So if Blackman's playing and he tweaks his knee, do you trust Okudah to step in? Because I mean, that's the thing about the depth there is you have to be prepared. Guys twist their ankles, twist their knees. Sure. There's a lot of things. So I think from a depth perspective, you are exactly right.
Yeah. Number 2, and this is more the I don't know how to explain it. I'm gonna say defensive line, and not by talent. But Jonathan Allen's 30, Javon Hargrave's 32, Harrison Phillips is 29.
Yep. I flagged the same thing. Exactly.
I think the only reason there, is just their age. I mean, obviously, I think they upgraded that position with Allen and Hargrave. Hargrave looks like a interior defensive lineman should look. Obviously, Jonathan Allen is a big time proven, talent there, but it's just their age, Judd. I mean, there's been some injuries there, and so they need everything to break right there, and they need the young guys behind them, the Jalen Redmonds and those guys to really elevate so they have depth, so those not so many snaps are put on those front guys, because at that age, I worry about how many snaps that over a long season that they can have on them.
I also think it's safe to assume that in the case of Hargrave and Allen, there's no way that they each play 17 games. And so, I love what they've done from a rotational standpoint here now. But I guess if one or both of those guys miss time, Now it's not a rotational standpoint. Now a rotational guy has to start, which puts you back, unless guys have made significant steps. Like, that's my thing is, I love how it looks on paper, but guys get hurt.
You need to be perfect.
Exactly.
You have to go
Exactly.
or close to perfect.
And can guys step up then and start? And that becomes at least a question mark. So, I flagged the same exact thing, which is, as a whole, I really like it. But, the perfect part with those guys is probably not going to happen.
Yeah. And then 3, I went quarterback, just because if we're saying there's a bunch of question marks, I think J.J. McCarthy is going to be good. I think I don't see any reason why he can't have a really good first year. But it's a question. He hasn't done it yet, and he has to prove it. And then, but after him, I just don't know about the depth. Judd, Sam Howell, I don't know if something happened with McCarthy and you had to turn to Sam Howell, are you going to be confident? I don't know. So I don't have so many question marks or questions about McCarthy other than he has to prove it. But I think everything that you see, everything we watched, attitude, leadership, arm strength, which you got a great quote out of.
We're
being with O'Connell, being with those coaches. That's right. That's a great question.
We're
Judd.
boys now.
That's right. I just think he's going to have a good year, but again, it's an unknown.
Yeah, I do not have a concern about he's going to fail. I think it's very fair to be concerned about, can he play 17 games? Like, hopefully
just because he got hurt already.
And I think we've discussed this previously, so I won't be long here about this, but it feels like this team, like if JJ goes down for, I don't know, let's say 1 to 5 games, something like that, okay? This team doesn't have a roster of, that's too bad. It's got a roster of, you need to insert a quarterback. And I'm not saying he needs to be a Pro Bowl player, but you need to insert a quarterback who can win you games.
Yeah. I mean, Hal has experience, but there's just, he comes with the turnovers. And
I know. And the arm.
Yeah.
The arm's not good. I mean, it's not strong. And so, like, that's my question is, can you fit passes into places when your arm strength is not, probably on the, just as a guess, Chipper, the lower half potentially of quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Fair?
I'll say this, when you watch him throw versus McCarthy, there's a difference,
Oh, God,
so, but I buy McCarthy stock. I just think he has I think he has everything there to be good. It's just he has to go do it. He has to, show it. But I don't see anything when you watch him or you're around him that says, I don't know, because I just think, he has the tools. I think he has the right makeup and all those things. It's just he has to go do it. Well,
and when O'Connell, to his credit, has gotten ramp-up time, he has succeeded as well. Like, he took Kirk from Kirk statistically was very, very good, but he made him a better QB as far as trying to win games, right?
Yep.
Last year as a poster child, Sam Darnold had the talent, but had never received the right infrastructure or coaching. He gets that, plays for the most part really, really well. Mm-hmm. So like that, I don't think there's any questions about McCarthy's mentality. And you're right, they're surrounding him with everything that he could possibly need. But if he gets hurt, you can't just say too bad.
Yeah. No. Yeah, it's particularly, with this team, the way it's constructed, I mean, this is a win now. We want to be a contender now. You can't just say, oh, well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, let's trade for Josh Jobs again. See what happens.
That's right. So that's my 3.
I like it.
The concerns are more about age, and kind of depth than anybody on the front line.
The defensive line one I really like because I think you're exactly right because of the age and guys' propensity to be hurt because they've done a great job of redoing it. But it wouldn't take a lot for you to suddenly be thrusting guys back into roles where they didn't thrive. The cornerback one, I think, is the one where I'm not convinced they're done there. I don't think they'll sign someone before training camp starts, if that makes sense. I think they'll evaluate it.
Evaluate it more as
training camp goes.
Because, as Lucano says, off seasons, teaching and learning, whatever he calls it, And then when you get to camp, it's more competition. So now you're going to see kind of get a better evaluation for that position.
And of course, training camp starts soon. We are 2 July. Chip Scoggins, fantastic work. We will talk to you next week for more Purple Access, sir.
See ya.